Hello and a very good evening. You're watching the news tonight on Rajya Sabha television with me, Frank Pereira. Here are the headlines. After nearly 3 months of tense standoff, India and China agree to disengage troops in Doklam. External Affairs Ministry confirms withdrawal of its soldiers. China says it will make appropriate changes in the region. CBI court sentences Dera Sacha Sauda chief Gurmeet Singh to 20 years in jail in the rape case. Punishment pronounced in Rohtak Suneria district jail. AIADMK party's resolution to expel party Deputy General Secretary TV Dinakaran says all appointments made by Dinakaran and Party General Secretary Shashikala are invalid. And at least 5 people have died as Hurricane Harvey leaves a trail of destruction in Houston City of US. Hurricane causes catastrophic flooding in many parts of Texas. Many Indians reported marooned. And our top focus on the bulletin this evening. After nearly 3 months of a tense standoff between India and China at Doklam, both countries have agreed to disengage at the disputed site. Foreign ministries of both countries confirmed that troops were being withdrawn even as China insisted its forces would continue to patrol the disputed area. The breakthrough comes just a week ahead of the BRICS summit being hosted by China between September 3rd and 5th, which Prime Minister Modi could attend.
In a major diplomatic breakthrough, India and China on Monday decided to end their lengthy standoff at Doklam near the Sikkim border. The Ministry of External Affairs said both countries had maintained diplomatic communication and agreed to expeditious disengagement of border personnel at Doklam.
It is a tremendous diplomatic victory for our country that both the countries' armies have agreed to pull back. This standoff was going on since about 2 months, and despite Chinese threats through media that we should withdraw, otherwise there will be a war, we were hanging on there. It was a very good decision on the part of both the government, and whatever we have pressurized to the entire world, we have come out victorious, and all the credit goes to the government decision to hang on there, and that's why we have got a diplomatic victory.
The Chinese Foreign Ministry told media in Beijing that China will make adjustments according to the situation in Doklam.
印方呢已经将越界的人员和设备全部撤回了边界的印方一侧，中方的现场人员对此进行了确认。中方呢将继续按照历史界约规定行使主权权利，维护领土主权。那么我也讲了，鉴于现场的情况已经出现了变化，中方呢将根据现地的情况做出必要的调整和部署。
Defense experts hailed it as a big diplomatic victory for India.
The disengagement protocol is adhered to in a mutually acceptable manner. It would be a very gain for India and China, and the political leadership in both sides should be commended for the manner in which they have handled it. India has shown very, very commendable levels of restraint, firmness, and also I think a certain respect for the protocol of how to deal with a major power like China in such a situation.
Last week, Home Minister Rajnath Singh hinted at a possible amicable solution to the border standoff, indicating that India was working to resolve the issue peacefully.
दोकलाम में एक डेडलॉक भारत और चाइना के बीच चल रहा है, लेकिन मैं समझता हूं कि उसका समाधान जल्दी निकलेगा. चीन भी अपनी तरफ से सकारात्मक पहल करेगा.
The intense standoff had caught global attention as well. Both Russia and the United States had urged China to help maintain peace and engage with India through dialogue.
This message will go that both such big countries can solve their problems among themselves without involving any nation like UNO and other countries also.
The disengagement at Doklam comes just days ahead of the BRICS summit in China in the first week of September, easing tensions between both countries.
China was bullying a small country like Bhutan, and it was also grabbing the strategic space of India. It is good that Now China has understood the reality of 2017. Good for regional peace. Akhilesh Suman for Rajya Sabha Television with camera person Muniz in Delhi.
Well, moving on to the other big news of the day now, the CBI Special Court has sent Dera Sacha Sauda Chief Gurmeet Singh to jail for 20 years in 2 rape cases. The quantum of sentence was delivered amid heavy security with a high alert situation in both Haryana and Punjab. After the judgment, Haryana Chief Minister Manohar Lal Khattar summoned an emergency meeting of top officials of the state. Both Khattar and his Punjab counterpart Amrinder Singh have appealed to the people to maintain calm.
The special CBI court has awarded a 20-year jail term to Dera Sacha Sauda Chief Gurmeet Ram Rahim for being convicted in 2 rape cases. A fine of 30 lakh rupees has also been slapped on the self-styled godman. The sentence was pronounced in a special court set up inside the heavily cordoned Sunaria jail near Rohtak, where the 50-year-old is lodged after his conviction by the Panchkula CBI court. CBI Special Court Judge Jagdeep Singh was flown to Rohtak in a chopper from Chandigarh to pronounce the sentence. The judge pronounced 2 jail sentences of 10 years each that will run consecutively.
He has been sentenced for 10 years for one offence, and again he has been sentenced for 10 years in the other offence, mainly. And he has also been convicted under Section 506 also, sentenced in both the cases.
This is a judgment on expected lines. The maximum sentence has been awarded, and the facts and circumstances of this case also require the maximum sentence to be given, because the facts are extremely shocking and full of immoral conduct.
Haryana Chief Minister held an emergency meeting after the judgment and appealed to the people to maintain peace.
कोर्ट ने जो फैसला किया है उसका एक सम्मान किया जाएगा, और हमने इस सारे केस को मद्देनजर ध्यान में रखते हुए प्रदेश के अंदर जो सारे इंतजाम किए हैं वो ठीक प्रकार से किए हैं, और मैं लोगों से अपील भी करता हूं कि इस निर्णय आने के बाद भी वो बनाए रखें.
Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh also met with the governor to discuss the law and order situation.
They have found him guilty and they have sentenced him. So there is nothing for us to say. We can only ask that this must be accepted by the people, और शांति रहे. कोई ऐसी हम ऐसे कोई बात नहीं चाहिए हमें जहाँ इसमें कोई गड़बड़ हो. ये जो अदालत ने अपना सुना दिया. Now you must accept that.
The Congress welcomed the CBI court judgment, while CPM's Brinda Karat said Ram Rahim deserved a bigger sentence.
It should also serve as a deterrent to anyone, individuals or institutions who believe that the law can be made subservient or law can be violated at will.
एक बलात्कार का केस नहीं है, ये 2 बलात्कार के केस हैं, और इसलिए हम तो समझते हैं इनको मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट मिलना चाहिए था, और मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट जज ने नहीं दिया. मैं समझती हूँ कि इसके खिलाफ अपील होना चाहिए और मैक्सिमम पनिशमेंट के लिए अपील होना चाहिए.
Fearing a rerun of the violence by Dera Sacha Sauda followers, Haryana and Punjab were on high alert. Rohtak was turned into a fortress. A multi-level security cordon manned by police and 23 companies of paramilitary forces was put in place around the city. Shoot-at-sight warnings were issued for miscreants as the army remained on standby in areas where Section 144 was imposed. Sirsa, where thousands of Dera followers have been camping, was also heavily guarded. Heavy security was deployed at the Haryana-Delhi and Haryana-UP borders to avoid any violence. Mayhem erupted in Panchkula and Sirsa after Gurmeet Ram Rahim's conviction on Friday and spread to other cities of Punjab, Haryana and the national capital. 38 people died in the violence that left over 250 injured. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, the Supreme Court slammed the Gujarat government for dragging its feet in the trial of self-styled godman Asaram Bapu. On Monday, the Apex Court asked the State Council why the rape victim has not been examined till date. It also directed the state government to file an affidavit in this regard and posted the matter for further hearing after Diwali. Earlier in April, a 3-judge bench of the top court had directed the state to expedite hearing in the case against Asaram. Well, moving on to news from Tamil Nadu now. The AIADMK on Monday ousted the party Deputy General Secretary TV Dinakaran from the post in a resolution adopted in a meeting convened by Chief Minister E. Palaniswamy. The decision to remove jailed party General Secretary VK Shashikala from the post will be taken at the party's General Council meeting to be convened soon.
The AIADMK party on Monday passed a resolution to expel party Deputy General Secretary TV Dinakaran. Another resolution was passed stating that all appointments made by Dinakaran and Party General Secretary Shashikala are invalid. The decision was taken at a meeting headed by Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E. Palaniswamy at the party headquarters in Chennai. However, the party claimed Dinakaran was sacked from the post of Deputy General Secretary on August 10th itself. The meeting, attended by ministers, MLAs and senior functionaries, also decided to convene a General Council meet to remove jailed party chief VK Shashikala.
The resolution itself speaks. You go through it. It is very vague. Why are you saying? You go through the resolution. Why are you?
Today's meeting also decided to initiate legal steps to retrieve party mouthpieces Namadu MGR and Jaya TV from the Dinakaran camp. Earlier, Dinakaran removed Electricity Minister P. Thangamani from the post of the party's Namakkal District Secretary. He also sacked Tamil Nadu Chief Minister E. Palaniswamy from the post of Salem District Secretary on Sunday.
Irrelevant. It doesn't have any legal standing. We are using Jaya TV and Namadu MGR as the gazette of the party. We are not misusing Jaya TV or Namadu MGR. So it is a private property where you don't have any rights to talk about it. And heights of foolishness, you are talking all rubbish. So my demand is this: ask these fellows to, we know what all list of properties they have.
Dinakaran is actually resorting to whimsical actions to try and somehow gain some media space in Tamil Nadu. He has already been ousted by the party, by the AIADMK. That is what we have heard. His appointment had been rendered to be illegal. So what powers does Dinakaran have to take action against someone like the Chief Minister Palaniswamy?
At least 21 AIADMK MLAs and MPs supporting Dinakaran were missing from the meeting. The 21 rebel MLAs have been demanding the removal of Palaniswamy as Chief Minister ever since the merger. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha TV.
The Aam Aadmi Party has retained the Bhavana Assembly seat in Delhi. The party's candidate Ram Chandar bagged 59,886 votes, while the BJP candidate finished a distant second. Here are the details.
Celebrations broke out among Aam Aadmi Party workers as results came in that candidate Ram Chandar won the Bhavana by-election by a margin of 24,052 votes. The election was seen as a crucial test of AAP's popularity after the nosedive it witnessed since the spectacular 2015 assembly elections.
कार्यकर्ताओं को, जो भी हमारे आम आदमी पार्टी के कार्यकर्ता हैं, समस्त कार्यकर्ताओं को और पार्टी के सभी नेताओं के कारण ये बढ़िया जीत हुई है। विकास को देखते हुए हमारे विधानसभा के सभी सम्मानीय बड़े बुजुर्गों ने, माताओं बहनों ने ये जो है एक तरफा वोट दिए।
The BJP, which came in a distant second, had fielded AAP turncoat Ved Prakash as its candidate. The Congress had fielded three-time MLA from Bhavana, Surinder Kumar. Though the Congress seemed to be leading in the initial rounds, it was pushed back to the third position in the latter half of the counting.
मैं इसको हार जीत में नहीं देख रहा। मेरा काम था बुराई को छोड़कर सच्चाई की तरफ आना। आज मैं पब्लिक से ठोक कर कहता हूँ, केजरीवाल एक बहुत बड़ा धोखेबाज है, बहुत बड़ा तानाशाही है। फिर डंके की चोट पर कहता हूँ, हार जीत से बहुत ऊपर हूँ। अगर मुझे हार जीत का कोई मलाल होता तो मैं तो 5 साल के लिए बना था लोग।
Ved Prakash, the legislator from Bhavana, had resigned from his assembly and AAP membership in March this year to join the BJP, necessitating a by-poll. Bhavana is one of the largest constituencies in Delhi in terms of number of voters. The by-poll was held on August 23rd and saw a turnout of 45%. Kriti Mishra's report for Rajya Sabha TV.
Meanwhile, Chief Minister N. Chandrababu Naidu's Telugu Desam party has won by a big margin in the bitterly fought Nandiar Assembly by-election in Andhra Pradesh on Monday. TDP's Bhuma Brahmananda Reddy got over 27,000 votes against the YSR Congress candidate. He was able to establish a quick lead over Shilpa Chandra Mohan Reddy of the YSR Congress and stayed ahead. The Nandiar contest was seen as a bellwether for the assembly elections in the state and national elections, both to be held in 2019. In Goa, Chief Minister Manohar Parrikar won the Panaji Assembly by-election, defeating his nearest rival Girish Chodankar of the Congress by 4,803 votes. Parrikar polled 9,862 votes against 5,059 by Chodankar. The BJP candidate and Goa Health Minister Vishwajit Rani also managed to retain his Valpoi Assembly seat by defeating his nearest rival by 10,066 votes in a by-election. Prime Minister Narendra Modi congratulated both the leaders for their victories.
Getting a 33% lead margin, almost equivalent to the vote of opposition, is a big thing. 63.1% voting makame.
So what are the factors which has gone in your favor?
Performance and connect with people openly.
Well, the National Sports Talent Search Portal was launched in New Delhi on Monday. Addressing the gathering, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu said that sport empowers individuals, transforms communities and inspires populations for positive change. The Vice President also said that sports plays an important role in improving physical and mental health and fostering active citizenship and social inclusion. Advocating the need for improving sports infrastructure, Vice President Naidu said that sport and play enhance child development, learning and encourages better academic performance.
कहाँ प्रतिभा है उसका पहचानना है, ये बहुत जरूरी है। इसलिए जो पोर्टल का आयोजन किया है क्रीड़ा मंत्रालय ने, युवा मंत्रालय ने, सचमुच में एक अच्छा कदम इन्होंने उठाया और एक इतिहास में इसको रचा जाएगा। भारत का खेल जगत में जहाँ जहाँ टैलेंट है वो टैलेंट को पहचानने के लिए, उनको आगे मौका देने के लिए, प्रोत्साहन देने के लिए एक पारदर्शी सिस्टम व्यवस्था बनाया।
Senior Congress leader Ahmed Patel took oath as Rajya Sabha MP on Monday. Rajya Sabha Chairman M. Venkaiah Naidu administered the oath of secrecy to the Congress leader. Finance Minister and Leader of the House Arun Jaitley as well as Leader of the Opposition Ghulam Nabi Azad were present at Ahmed Patel's oath-taking ceremony. Patel retained his Rajya Sabha seat after polls in Gujarat on the 8th of August, even though few Congress MLAs deserted the party days before the election and cross-voted. The other two Rajya Sabha seats from Gujarat were bagged by BJP President Amit Shah and Union Minister Smriti Irani, both of whom took oath as Rajya Sabha MPs on August 25th. Well, let's now take you across the nation and get you some developments from across the country in Nationwide. The Supreme Court today rejected the petitions of the Federation of Indian Mineral Industries and Vedanta seeking to scrap e-auction of iron ore in Karnataka. FIMI submitted that instead of an e-auction, there should be long-term agreement between producers and buyers. A bench of justices said that they did not accept the suggestions. The Delhi High Court today dismissed Chief Minister Arvind Kejriwal's plea questioning the decision of a judge to expedite the hearing of a defamation suit filed by Finance Minister Arun Jaitley against him and 5 other AAP leaders. A division bench dismissed the plea, saying it is devoid of merit. GJM Chief Vimal Gurung alleged a conspiracy by Hill leaders against him. In an audio message, Gurung warned them that if they discussed any other issue other than Gorkhaland with the West Bengal government, they would not be allowed to return to the hills. The meeting was convened by the Mamata Banerjee government, requesting a dialogue to restore normalcy in the Darjeeling Hills. Well, the CBI questioned Karti Chidambaram for the second time in a corruption case for alleged clearance given to media group owned by Peter Mukherjee and his wife Indrani for bringing foreign funds into their venture. A firm indirectly controlled by Karti allegedly received money from INX Media run by the Mukherjees, who is currently in jail charged with the murder of Indrani's daughter. Well, moving on to some international news now. Houston and nearby regions remained under siege for the third day on Monday after torrential rains and surging floodwaters showed no signs of abating caused by Hurricane Harvey, which hit Texas on Friday. 5 people are reported to be killed so far, a number expected to rise in the coming days. Meanwhile, External Affairs Minister Sushma Swaraj has informed that around 200 Indian students at the University of Houston are marooned, surrounded by neck-deep water. She also said that rescue work is being overseen by the Consulate General in Houston. Evacuated by Sunday evening, at least 5,000 more are still reported stuck in low-lying areas, some of which are completely submerged. With electricity poles knocked down, power supply to more than 3 lakh people has been affected. Many highways and streets throughout the region are flooded, making normal travel impossible. With both airports of Houston shut, air travel too remains suspended.
I first noticed the water was up over the curb, and within about 2 hours we had water in the house. And we haven't heard any official word from any official here. But we out here, mayor, we looking for you, city councilman, we looking for you. Anybody of importance, we looking for you.
We know one lady, she won't come out. She's handicapped. Okay. She's over here on the left side. Right. So we know she's there. We know a couple of houses that's saying they're going to ride it out. So we're not for sure exactly how many people. Now the water is coming up to your shoulder by the time you get to the end of the corner.
Texas Governor Greg Abbott has dispatched 1,800 military personnel to help with the statewide cleanup. Abbott also announced that over 1,000 people in 22 aircrafts, 35 boats and 93 rubbish trucks are conducting search and rescue operations in Houston. U.S. President Donald Trump will visit the storm-ravaged state of Texas on Tuesday.
We're not at recovery yet. We're thinking and planning for recovery. We have recovery teams down. We're trying to help with bolster the efforts to do swift water rescue, search and rescue over a huge county jurisdiction, over 30 to 50 counties possibly impacted in Texas. We're anticipating over 30,000 people being placed in shelters temporarily to basically stabilize the situation and provide for their care.
With winds blowing at over 200 kilometers per hour, Harvey is the first Category 4 storm to hit the U.S. mainland in almost 12 years. It has now been downgraded to a tropical storm. Harvey is still lingering over the Houston area, causing severe flooding that is expected to grow worse over the next few days, with a total of up to about 3 feet rain possible through Wednesday. The National Hurricane Center in Miami warned catastrophic flooding was likely to occur in the days ahead. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Staying on with international news now, thousands of fearful Rohingya Muslims and Rakhine Buddhist civilians have fled to Bangladesh in the wake of the violence that killed 104 people so far. The United Nations and international aid groups were forced to pull out their staff. India also raised serious concern over the violence and has extended its strong support to the Myanmar government. Myanmar's government has evacuated at least 4,000 villagers amid ongoing clashes in northwestern Rakhine state. Thousands of Rohingya Muslims fled across the border to Bangladesh, but many were told to turn back by Bangladeshi border guards. Thousands of fearful Rohingya Muslims and Rakhine Buddhist civilians have fled the northern part of Rakhine state over the last few days. Meanwhile, dozens of international aid workers who were stationed in Mongdo were seen leaving for Rakhine state's capital, Sitwe, on Sunday as the situation worsened. The United Nations also pulled out non-essential staff from the area. Pope Francis is expected to travel to Myanmar and Bangladesh later this year for a landmark visit to focus international attention on the stateless Rohingya Muslim minority. The death toll from the violence that erupted on Friday with coordinated attacks by Rohingya insurgents has climbed to 104. The vast majority are militants plus 12 members of security forces and several civilians. Bureau Report, Rajya Sabha Television. Well, here's a roundup now of some other international news and global buzz. Pakistan postponed a visit by a US Acting Assistant Secretary of State as protests broke out against President Donald Trump's accusations that Islamabad was prolonging the war in Afghanistan. According to a US Embassy spokesperson, a trip by Acting Assistant Secretary Alice Wells has been postponed till a mutually convenient time at the request of the Pakistani government. Two people were killed and 25 others are missing in a landslide that took place in the Bijie city of southwest China's Guizhou province. The landslide affected 34 households. Rescuers managed to pull out 6 people, among whom 2 were dead. Search for the 25 missing people is underway. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres said that he was truly committed to fight anti-Semitism, all other forms of bigotry during a visit to Israel's National Holocaust Memorial. Guterres is on a 3-day visit to Israel and Palestine territories, which is aimed to revive Israeli-Palestinian dialogue. Kenya's Supreme Court ordered the Election Commission to allow the opposition, which is disputing results of the presidential vote, to have access to its computer servers and electronic devices. The court also said that Independent Electoral and Boundaries Commission will have to provide paper documents used to collate results. Well, let's now shift focus and bring you up to speed with some sports news in Sports Beat. Indian shuttler PV Sindhu settled for a silver after losing to Japan's Nozomi Okuhara in the final of the World Badminton Championship in Glasgow. Sindhu lost to her Japanese rival 1921, 22-20, 20-22 after battling hard in the game. Earlier, Saina Nehwal ended her campaign with a bronze. Badminton Association of India announced a cash award of 10 lakh rupees for Sindhu and 5 lakh rupees for Saina after their medal performances. Prime Minister Narendra Modi also praised Sindhu on Twitter. Amit Pangal in the 49 kg and Gaurav Binduri in the 56 kg category entered the quarterfinals of the 19th World Boxing Championships in Hamburg, Germany. While Amit beat 7th-seeded Carlos Cuepo of Ecuador, Gaurav got the better of Ukrainian Mykola Butsenko in the pre-quarterfinal bout. Amit will face 2nd-seeded Hasanboy Dusmatov and Gaurav will face Tunisia's Bilal Hamdi in their quarterfinal matches. Dustin Johnson beat Jordan Spieth in a playoff to win the Northern Trust in Old Westbury, New York. Johnson sank a 3-foot birdie putt at the first extra hole to edge out Spieth after a compelling head-to-head final round duel between the two Americans at the Glen Oaks Club. Well, that's it on this newscast. Good night.